Welcome. Now we begin. We'll start in Tadasana or mountain pose, standing with our feet hip width apart. Standing on all four corners of our feet, pressing in to the big toe ball, the pinky ball of the arch, and both corners of your heel evenly. If you are not suffering from vertigo, you can try to do this with your eyes closed, but for those of you with a balance disorder, it may be safer to do this with eyes open. As we stand here, imagine that there is energy moving up, like you're breathing through the soles of your feet. And we'll take a moment to think about the meaning of it being called the sole of our feet and how that might relate to the soul in our body. In this pose, we want to tilt our pelvic up and our tailbone down, rotating our shoulders back to open our chest, and chin is parallel to the floor. Unlike in medical anatomical structure, in yoga, we face our palms forward. We're going to try to see if we can feel the energy change by placing a block between our feet. As we get back into Tadasana, imagine now the energy pulling up the inner line as we pull back our navel to our spine. As we push the arch of our foot into the yoga block, we will feel now the energy changes and it moves up the yin portion of our body, the inner thigh, moving up into our sacrum and our pelvic floor. This brings energy up from Mother Earth into our body, energizing us and bringing vitality to the pranamaya kosha and our subtle body. Now we will remove the block, moving to the top of our mat, finding our balanced Tadasana pose again. This is always a centering pose. Bending forward on the exhale, we'll lift halfway on the inhale, flat back, exhale down, stepping back into a plank pose. Now we will do Ashtanga, Namaskara. We're going to push right back up into a downward dog. We can take a moment here to pedal out our feet, bending our right knee while we straighten the left, and then doing the opposite one as we try to imagine bringing our heels down to the ground. On an exhale, we'll start to make our way back to the top of the mat, where we will once again do Ashtanga Namaskara. Center ourselves, coming back up to standing, centering in prayer position, bending our knees and inhale on the way up, exhale as we fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, exhaling on the way down. And again, we step back, taking notice of the fact that we're using the arch of our foot, the arch of our lumbar, and the arch of our neck. They're all connected. Again, take a few breaths in downward dog. Making our way again back to the top of the mat. Rise up one vertebrae at a time, centering again in Tadasana. The feet is the foundation of our yoga practice. In all of our practice today, we are going to remember that it all starts in the base of our foot and moves energetically up. Grab your block now and place it between your thighs. Again, the same way that we squeeze together to feel the energy move on the inside of our yin channel. For those of you that are having balance disorders currently, please grab an aid to help you balance, as we would not want you to get injured. If you're capable of doing it without an aid, go back into Utkatasana chair pose. Here we want to make sure that our knees are not traveling further than our toes. We should see our toes when we look down. We're bending at approximately 30-degree angle as we sit back and engage our glutes. Again, think of the arch of your foot, the medial arch in the middle, lifting up. Try to imagine a marionette strut, lifting that up like a puppet string. We don't want to collapse our arches in this position. You'll feel the prana start to move in your body, and you may feel a little shake. Rise up for a minute. Center yourself again, Tadasana. Rest momentarily, centering. From prayer position, we will go back to Utkatasana, this time rotating to one side. With one elbow on the knee, we bring our other elbow out, rotating and twisting. It is ideal to look up towards the sky as you do this pose, but again, if you suffer from vertigo or any other issues with your balance, you might want to consider looking down at the horizon to try to keep yourself from getting dizzy or losing balance. Safety always comes first. As we begin to heal ourselves energetically and physically, perhaps our symptoms will subside and we'll be able to go deeper and fuller into the poses. Again, centering in Tadasana. Prayer position and twisting to the opposite side this time. In this case, I want you to think again about the energy coming up from the soles of your feet. And as you squeeze your legs together, the energetic flow is going up the inside of your leg and into your lower pelvic area. With all this new energy in your torso, twist deeper, wringing out the organs, getting any stale oxygen and blood in these organs, squeezing and twisting so that when we rise, we'll make space for new prana. And coming back out of it, you can release your block now. Centering again, Tadasana prayer pose. Take a breath. Never mind Ruby, please. She is my service dog in training. Now we are going to move into a few poses where again we're going to be thinking about our feet. The arms are important, but not so much today. Here in Warrior One, what I want you to really focus on in your front forward foot is to think about the heel having a trident. So 3 prongs going down into the earth. In this pose, we tend to rotate our heel inward. I want you to think about your outside heel balancing down so that it is flat on the ground. But your bent backwards leg now, we tend to then only put weight on our inside heel. Again, I want you to think about pushing down the back edge of your heel so that it is flat on the ground. Our feet will stay the same even in the triangle pose. We want to be thinking about keeping the arch lifted in our feet, but we want all 4 corners of our feet, big toe, pinky toe pads, and right and left corners of our heel pressing evenly into the ground. Breathing up through our feet and out the top of our head. as we feel energy move from Mother Earth into us. Coming back to Warrior One, we will come out of this pose. Reset yourself in a little bit of a wider stance with both feet facing forward, perhaps toes slightly in. From prayer pose here, we're going to go flat back and bend forward, thinking about pointing our tailbone up to the sky so that we extend energetically from our heels all the way through the back of our legs, bringing energy up. And again, I want you to feel if you are rotating your heel too much inward. And in this case, then bring some of the weight back to the outside corner. Dropping down now to give your back a little rest. We can go deeper into the pose, fully breathing as we allow gravity to open us up. Again, thinking about keeping your tailbone pointed up towards the sky. This will really get the stretch deeper in the back of your legs. Back into a flat back position. We stand up from here strong. And now we'll switch to the other side. Going back into Warrior One. And if you lose balance, don't worry or get frustrated. There's no judgment here. We all come to the mat with different abilities, and day to day, hour to hour, this can change. Again, here, I want you to remember your feet, paying attention on the bent forward leg to bring some weight into the outside of your heel. And again, breathe up through your feet, exhaling out through your crown chakra. You have sacral bones that exist energetically a few inches beneath the soles of your feet. Envision them receiving nutrients from this practice. You're breathing from this place, getting energy from the geomagnetic field of the earth, bringing energy and new prana into the body. Moving back into Warrior One, we will move out of this pose by heel toeing it in a little closer, keeping your feet at a 45-degree angle. Adjust if you need as well, dropping in with a flat back as if you're moving down a wall into Balasana. We're going to hang out here for a few minutes. For some of you, this may be challenging if you have issues with prolapsed arches or tight Achilles. And if your heels don't touch the ground and you're struggling, you may want to put a yoga block to sit on to take some of the pressure. Otherwise, this should be restorative. So take a moment to just go inward. Feeling the connection between the diaphragm of your foot and the diaphragm of your pelvis and the diaphragm under your heart. They are all connected and they all breathe together. Moving now to our hands and knees. We're going to do a few cat-cows, but in this case, I'd like you to keep your toes curled under, creating again the arch in your foot, the arch on your lumbar as you move in to cow, and the arch of your cervical spine in this same position. We exhale as we move into cat. Inhaling as we move into cow. Moving at your own pattern. We now move into Vajrasana or lightning bolt. This can be challenging for people if they have never done yoga for the feet and they have tight ankles and toes. If this is the case for you, for today's practice, I suggest putting a cushion or a yoga block to sit down on to take some of the pressure off. If you're okay to go into the full pose, resume back, leaning and sitting on your heels as you feel all 10 toes make contact evenly with the ground beneath you. Again, if this is too much, you can always lean your body a little forward, making contact with the ground, just to take a little bit of pressure off of the toes, and you can move back into the pose as you feel that you're able to today. Remembering that we grow our practice by showing up every day. Okay, let's just let our feet unwind without getting the dog too interested in what we're doing. Okay, so now we're going to try to move back and release our ankles in a separate direction. So we've done a lot of forward flexion, now we're going to do extension. So if you don't have a cushion, that's okay. You can use your yoga block again, just to have something to rest your back down on. As we lean back, opening the front of the foot, the front of the quad, the front of our heart and chest space, and the front of our throat. Again, you can see in this position that we have the arches curving of our foot, of our lumbar spine, and of our cervical spine. As you lay in this position, think about your heart space opening up and your heart chakra receiving new young energy from above, which warms your heart and brings the vitality and energy to your practice, even though we are laying in a restorative pose. And feel how your breath is different with your throat open. Surrendering, allowing, and letting go. As we come out of this pose, you will feel a lot of new prana and blood flow moving into your feet. In staff pose, we will lift our arms, extending our side bodies as we fold forward. And just like we did with our feet, moving from flexion to extension, we always have to have a counterbalance. So in this case, we are elongating the skin, the muscles, and the energetic back body as we just allow gravity to bring our head further to our knees, holding our feet, our ankles, our shins, or wherever we are at today. Feeling a cocoon of love as we envelop ourselves in our own embrace. Breathing into our kidneys in our back body, where our Jing is located. our ancestral inherited energy. Coming back one vertebrae at a time. We will now stand up and work on fascia release. Now we're going to be standing on our yoga block, and this can be a little precarious if you have balance issues. So I want you to only do what you feel safe doing and whatever props and aids you need. So hold against the wall, a surface, have a trekking stick. In my case, I have a rain stick. And as we stand our arch on the yoga block of 1 foot only, we are opening our wellspring or our gushing spring. This is considered the base chakra in our body, the lowest one. This is where in Chinese traditional medicine, the Chinese believe that our kidney is the source of our primal energy. This is kidney 1 point, the lowest acupressure point in the whole meridian system. As we stand here, we are standing and putting energy into this point of our body, bringing awareness and attention as we move energy. So we're going to switch sides now, finding balance and making sure we're safe as we stand on the opposite side. Now this is also releasing our fascia. So the fascia is a connective tissue that not only holds in all the parts of our body from cell up to organ up to the entire structure, but it is a communication system, and it often gets adhesions or things that make it sticky and holding, and communication breaks down. Now, seeing as we have 26 bones in our feet and it carries all the weight of the rest of our body, it makes sense that this part can have a lot of injuries and a lot of ways in which we can have adhesions in the fascia that disrupt and block the flow not only of energy and communication through the rest of our body, but creating issues with our balance, our gait. And so in this case, we are gonna, even if it's painful, we hold this pose for a little while, breathing in the soul diaphragm and our abdomen diaphragm, opening, releasing. We'll now come back down to the ground for Buddha Konasana. Again, I want you to just massage that kidney 1 point, bringing energy. Your hands are also a healing vessel, same as the sole of your feet, and they bring energy through the nadis of the extremities of your body. So now you're going to take your 1 finger and you're going to push it between the webbing of your big toe and the next one. And as we do this, we keep in mind that our big toes in reflexology are related to our pineal and our pituitary glands. So bring awareness to this point as we push in. It may become painful to press in the webbing, but again, with fascia release, we're just going to breathe into that discomfort and we're going to hold it. When doing fascia release, it is ideal to hold each position between 3 and 5 minutes. During our yoga flow today, we're holding it for slightly less, but I would recommend if you add this into your practice that you do hold each of these fascia release points for longer, as you'll receive more benefit. Now we move our fingers into the next part of the webbing. These next 2 toes are the right and the left eyes. So as we hold here, we're not only releasing any adhesions in this part of our fascia, but we are also activating in reflexology our eyes. And our eyes are sometimes as well in traditional Chinese medicine related to our liver. So hopefully by holding this point, not only will we improve our eyes, but maybe we will aid in the detoxification and the filtering of nutrients in our body through our liver. Again, we move our finger down to the next webbing and push down. Now, for those of you that have numbness in your hands or you have strength issues, Another option to do here is to take a pen or a pencil or some other object that would fit between your toes easily and hold each side and push it down. And yes, sometimes this can cause a little bit of pain, but that pain is working through the adhesions, and we only hold though as long as we can still breathe deeply in our diaphragm. And when we hold this pose, we think about our kidneys and the back body opening, and we move then to the last two toes, pinky toe. The pinky and the one beside it are related to our ears. So as we hold this, we are improving our hearing while still energetically breathing into our kidneys in our back body, which are now open to the sky, receiving universal life energy from above as we breathe. Rolling one vertebrae at a time. We'll take a centering breath before we move on to our back. Taking a moment to be grateful for all of the nurturing poses we've already done. We'll now move to our back and into our final twist. We're gonna move into T, Texas T arms, cactus arms, twisting one leg on top of the other, rotating down. Making sure that we keep both shoulders on the ground. Again, just releasing, letting go of any tension in your hips. With each exhale, you fall deeper into the pose. If you'd like, you can use your hand to help guide your knee closer to the ground, but keep in mind, you do not want the opposite shoulder to lift off of the ground. Finding a balance between ease and effort. And this is about the time in the practice where Ruby has decided that it's time to play now, because in her mind, yoga is boring. Ruby is my service dog in training, but at home I don't place her into holds. She's not brave. And she always teaches me that sometimes it's time for kisses and not for yoga. And I didn't cut this out or retake it because I want you to keep in mind that in your life, that things will come up for you that distract you, whether that's children, pets, the phone ringing, your boss calling, the stress of your disability, your disease, and whatever it is. Don't place judgments or get angry. Just go with it. So if your puppy wants to have a kiss and to play, then I guess that's what's happening next. So although I would suggest for you to take this time in Shavasana and lay down so you can feel all of the nutrients of what you have just done and the benefit, unfortunately, Ruby's not going to allow that for me. But just as Shavasana is restorative for our mind, our body, and our soul, so is a kiss from your beloved pet. So the next time you get distracted by the ringing phone, by a crying child, or by an exuberant pet, instead of getting angry, take a yoga breath and just go with it. And as we come to a close today, I want you to keep in mind that wherever you are on your journey, that you will be blessed with healing as long as you keep showing up for yourself every day. Have a blessed life.